Before we get started, to my friend from the Austin neighborhood, I want you to know that I have a very, very dear friend and her husband who serve in the 11th District, which is Harrison Street. She's on a tactical team. I understand the gun violence in your area. I pray for her every night, for her and her husband's safety. In no way would I ever want to put them in harm's way. To the sponsor, please. Your contention that a fingerprint is the way that we can identify a gun owner. It's our form of identification is your unique fingerprint.
There are multiple ways, but fingerprints are the way that we put in to accurate identification, and this is what the state police...
And we're going to keep that fingerprint on file. State police will have it. Do you know that the FOID card, the owners of FOID card, their information is not susceptible to a Freedom of Information Act request? I can't ask someone, I cannot go to...
Nor will the fingerprints be to other law enforcement agencies.
No, but you said they were going to be used by other law enforcement agencies.
FOIA requests are different from...
No, but you're asking me to give my fingerprint to the state police in order to exercise my right, but that fingerprint can be used for other purposes, whereas my ownership of a FOID card is not susceptible to any discovery.
It is to other law enforcement agencies.
But it's not, it's not protected. The fingerprint is not protected. I have a question about an estate sale. I pass away, my wife doesn't have a FOID card. She wants to sell my collection. She gives my weapons to an executor. Does that person have to have a FOID card?
So what happens in inheritance is there is a 60-day period in which to do a lawful transfer for that.
Okay. But my wife decides to, she doesn't have a FOID card. She decides to sell my weapons to another person, goes to the dealer, transfers the guns to the dealer. The dealer finds out that the person she wants to sell the guns to is not a lawful FOID card holder.
Therefore, that sale would not be able to take place.
Yes, ma'am. What happens to those weapons?
They are held temporarily in the custody of the dealer.
No, ma'am.
Until you're...
No, ma'am. That's not true. Within 24 hours, your bill requires them to be turned over to the police.
Can you tell me where you saw that?
Yes,
so
ma'am. It's in your bill.
Well, can you give me the page reference?
No,
I'd be happy to check that.
I want to keep moving. I'm very short on time.
Okay.
We have several counties. We have several counties and sheriffs who have said that they don't believe that this law is constitutional. They don't have the resources or the time to enforce it. Are you going to? Does your bill require the state police to go in and overrule the state's attorney and the sheriffs in our counties?
I'm going to tell you this about the states and the counties, and particularly those that choose to be Second Amendment sanctuary counties. They are required by law to follow all state laws. If this bill does pass, this will be state law. They will be required to follow this law.
And if they choose not to enforce this law, is prosecutorial discretion?
If they choose not to follow a state law, I hope they will all turn in their badges.
Well, I think that you need to spend more time in downstate Illinois.
Because they welcome me with open arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the bill. This bill does not solve any of the problems that it pertains to save. This bill will not help the Chicago Police Department solve one murder, one gun crime. We are imposing a standard on our citizens that have been granted to us by the Constitution of this great country. I know this will surprise some of you, but back in 1966, when I raised my right hand and swore to defend and protect this Constitution for the very first time, which we all did in January, this Second Amendment was a very, very serious part of that commitment. There is no other constitutional right that we enjoy that we have to pay for. This is unconstitutional, in my opinion, I believe it is a very, very difficult standard.
Please bring your remarks to a
Yes,
close,
ma'am.
Representative.
And I can tell you that we will rue the day if this bill passes, and I strongly, strongly urge you all to vote no.